Black Ops 6 Season 5 Reloaded just dropped, and with that there were many buffs and nerfs, and so today we're going to be going over the top 5 meta weapons that you should be using. With the first gun being the AK-74, they buffed the overall maximum damage range, although in the patch notes there was a little bit of a typo, so we don't know exactly what they buffed it to, but it definitely does feel a little bit stronger, so give it a couple of goes. And I will be going over an 8 attachment and a 5 attachment build, which a lot of these are going to work in multiplayer and in Warzone. That being said, for the 5 attachment one, we are going to be going over to the muzzle, and we are going to be adding the compensator. This gun does kick around a lot, and so this is going to reduce that kick, making it so much easier to hit your shots. For the barrel, we are going to be using the reinforced barrel, bringing up that effective damage range to 49 meters. So basically, no matter the gunfight, you are going to be able to get that 3-shot kill, and your bullet velocity is going to feel very, very fluid on the map as well. The gun still is a little bit shaky side to side, so to reduce that, we are going to be adding the vertical. For the magazine, you want to add the extended mag, so you don't really have to reload after every kill or two. And then for the last attachment, we're going to go over here, and we are going to be adding the quick draw grip. Since the ADS speed isn't necessarily the best, it feels a little bit sluggish, but it's going to make it so much snappier. So right here is a very good 5 attachment build, but if you want to use it with the 8 attachments, that's when I actually would use an optic, since the iron sights are pretty good, and I think it's just better to statistically make the weapon better if you are using a 5 attachment build. The optic I really do like is going to be the dot first MF reflex, and then we go over to the customization, swap that reticle over to something else like maybe the blue dot, or you can do the purple or something like that, and it definitely just, you know, makes the gun a lot more enjoyable to use. Then we are going to be adding the combat stock just to increase that flinch resistance. Some people do like the infiltrator stock, or you can use a different one. All the attachments in this game are super good. It's just this gun I'm typically using at long range, so if the enemy does land any shots on me, my screen's going to shake a lot, making it a little bit easier to land that next one. And this gun doesn't have the fastest fire rate, so it's not the most forgiving if you miss. This makes it a lot easier to stay on target, while also making yourself a harder target to hit because it increases that strafing speed. Then we're going to go over to the fire mods, and we are going to be adding the recoil springs. If you are on Warzone, a lot of people just use the overpressured, so you can have a little bit more bullet velocity, so you don't really need to lead your shots. But overall, right here is going to be a super consistent AK-74 build. Next gun is going to be the SWAT 5.56. They also buff the damage range, I believe, of this gun, but you don't want to use it in the burst. Obviously, we're going to be turning it into the Growl 5.56, making it so much better. Do you want everything in Call of Duty without having to play the game? Then you should check out my long-term sponsor, Gwapsi. Gwapsi is a team of real players that will load onto your account to legitimately grind anything that you wish. And this goes for all the recent Call of Duties and many other games. They will even get you iridescent so you can flex all the cool rewards. Seriously, there's no risk involved because they don't use an unlock tool. They legitimately play in your account. And I've been with them for a long time and haven't seen a single negative review. And so if you want to save your time and energy, check out gwapsi.com. For the fire mod, you want to add the growl conversion. This is what's going to actually make the gun full auto. It's also going to increase that movement speed and the overall recoil control. Yes, it is going to be lowering that damage, but this is literally the only way to use it. And once you give it at least one go, you're going to be seeing how strong this gun is. For the magazine, we're going to be adding the full auto extended mag, increasing the mag size from 30 all the way up to 50. Since this gun, I just got congestion. Since this gun is a marksman rifle, it does have a decent amount of like first initial shot recoil, and so you have to use the ported compensator whenever you are using like a marksman rifle in this game. This is going to make it a lot easier to be able to land that next shot, and you're going to notice a way faster TTK because you're going to be a lot more consistent with the gun. And then for the underbarrel, there really isn't any recoil, so I guess for the 5 attachments, stay away from the underbarrel. I'm gonna go over to the rear grip though, and we are going to be adding the ergonomic grip since you can play aggressive, and so I like to be able to, you know, have a little bit less of a delay whenever I do slide into the gunfight. And then for the stock, we are going to be going over here, and we are going to be adding the combat stock. The marksman rifles do definitely have a decent amount of flinch. This is going to reduce that flinch, and like I was saying before, you're going to be a harder target to hit. So right here is going to be a very good 5 attachment SWAT 5.56 build. I would not use this thing with 8 attachments, but if you do, use a Ranger foregrip. You don't need the recoil control, but that sprinting movement speed is pretty nice on the gun. For the laser, add the Sherlock laser, increasing the hip fire to ADS accuracy, and then don't use an optic. I think the iron sights are amazing, and my nose is unbelievably itchy, but if you do use an optic, use like the Kepler, or just whichever one you prefer. But overall, I would just use like the 5 attachment build for the swap. Now for the next gun, it's going to be the ABR, which is an absolute meta weapon. You do have to add some special attachments to make it a little bit better, First, we are going to be going over the burst version. I do like it more in full auto, but if you're playing Warzone, you definitely want to use this thing in the burst. You want to add the recoil springs, which I thought I had that unlocked on this account, but I guess I don't. And so in that case, I'll just use overpressured for now. Then for the muzzle, we are going to be adding the monolithic suppressor, increasing that overall damage range and the bullet velocity, make it so you don't really need to lead your shots. You want to add the gain twist barrels, so then there's just absolutely no delay when you, like, you know, when you're trying to shoot the enemies at long range, basically. And then for the magazine, you want to add the extended mag 1, or you can do the extended mag 2, so you really don't have to worry about reloading. Completely up to you guys. I guess if you are using this in Warzone, you definitely want to use the extended mag 2. Underbarrel, use the vertical foregrip, so then you have no recoil on the gun. Right here is going to be a very good 5 attachment build. But if you do want to use it in full auto, which is what I recommend for multiplayer, you want to add the rapid fire rounds. Then we're going to go over here and we're just going to add the regular suppressor. You want to add the long barrel, or you can do the reinforced barrel complete. I would definitely use the reinforced barrel just so your bullet velocity isn't horrendous. In the meantime, I'm going to add the long barrel. Sorry for using this account. On my other one, I do have it maxed out. And then we're going to basically keep the underbarrel as the vertical. For the comb, you want to go over here and you want to add the quick draw one, or you could do the ergonomic, but the gun's ADS speed isn't that good, so I always like to use that quick draw. Then we're going to be adding the infiltrator pad. Balance stock is super good too if you want to like shoulder corners and things like that. Combat pad also pretty good, but the infiltrator, promise you no enemy will ever be able to hit you. And then for the optic, you want to go over here and you want to add the Kepler microflex, or you can just do an optic of your choice. For me though, usually it's going to be the Kepler. And right here is going to be a very good 8 attachment build. And then for the next gun, we are going to be using the C9, which is going to be the first SMG on this list. And this is overall one of, if not the best SMG in the game. The next one is also super good, so you want to make sure you take down both of these classes. And the only downside of this gun is that there's a lot of like horizontal recoil, but that also is a plus to where you don't need to add the compensator, because the compensator only helps with that gun kick control in the vertical. And so now we can just literally just focus on underbarrel, so we can just do the, on the horizontal. So for the underbarrel, we're using the vertical foregrip. And then for the magazine, you want to use the extended mag 2 if you're on Warzone. Multiplayer, I'll just use the extended mag 1. Rear grip, the ergonomic grip, same reasons as before. You don't really want any delays when you're in those close range gunfights. That literally will make or break a lot of those close gunfights against those very good players. For the fire mod, I recommend the recoil springs, so then there's just no side-to-side bounce whatsoever. Also does help with a little bit of that gun kick, so with these iron sights, they are going to shake around a little bit less, making it so much easier to stay on target. And then for the barrel, I recommend the long barrel, so you can maximize the damage range, making it take fewer shots, and this is going to increase that by 30%. The bullet velocity is over 500, and so you don't really need to use the reinforced barrel. And right here is going to be a very good 5 attachment build. Although if you do want to focus on mobility, I would definitely use the infiltrator stock. Makes it feel like an OG MP5, and so you can still see that there is a lot of recoil on the weapon. I mean, a lot of recoil control. The recoil springs do help, you know, smooth things out a little bit, but it just, you know, depends if you want recoil control or you want a little bit more mobility. For the 8 attachment though, that's when you can really combine things. You can use the infiltrator with the recoil springs, or the laser, use that Strelak laser, and this does give you a blue laser, but I bet you've never seen a blue laser before. And so now your hip fire to ADS accuracy is going to be a little bit better, making it feel like you have a faster ADS speed, so you can pre-fire a little bit of your shots. That actually helps you win so many gunfights, which is why, you know, for the underbarrel, sometimes people do use that G grip, so then you get that built in. But this combo lets you maximize that, because you don't really need an optic, so I would definitely use vertical with the Strelak. And then for the muzzle, if you want to be off the radar, use the suppressor. If you want more recoil control, use the compensator. For me, I'm going to use the suppressor. Right here is a very good best 8 attachment C9 build in the entire game. For the second to last gun that we are going to be going over, this is going to be the LOADOUT, which has one of the best TTKs in the entire game. There's absolutely no recoil. Well, I guess with no attachments, there's a little bit, but overall, this gun is super simple to use, and a lot of you guys are going to like it. For the underbarrel though, since there was a little bit of that side-to-side bounce, we are going to add the vertical foregrip to maximize that control. We also get a little bit of gun kick control, making those iron sights shake around a little bit less. You do go through the ammo super fast, although the extended mag only increases the mag size by about 7, and so that is a little bit annoying. I wish it went up to at least like 50, but then again, the gun would just be a little bit too OP at that point. For the rear grip, I recommend the ergonomic grip, and I really should have used the other account. In the meantime, I'm just going to be adding the quick draw. For the stock, you want to use the balance stock, or you can do the infiltrator pad. The thing about the balance stock that's super nice is, I say there's a big wall right here. You can shoulder these corners, and so then you can just kind of get the information before you go into the gunfight, and then you have a fast ADS, so you can, if you know the targets there, you can center them through the wall and ADS as you're going around the wall. and so then you're already on target, and it just really makes it a lot easier to win those gunfights. And then once you're in the gunfight, you can strafe pretty fast, since the balance gives you a decent amount boost for like every type of strafe speed. And then for the last attachment, for the 5 attachment build, we're going to add the long barrel, again maximizing the damage range. The bow velocity right now is 500, so you don't really need more than that. So right here is going to be a very consistent build. Again, if you do want more recoil control, literally take off the stock, add the compensator, or if you want to be off the radar, use the suppressors. So a little bit of a trade-off of mobility for a little bit more control if you want. But then again, if you are using the 8 attachment, you can just combo everything together, so then you can use balance with the suppressor or the compensator. The iron sights are great, so then we're going to use this extra one on the Strelak laser. And then for the fire mods, we are definitely going to be adding the recoil springs, so then there's even more recoil control. Multiplayer, you can definitely get away with the rapid fire, and it feels so good. Just make sure for your barrel, you use the reinforced barrel, because then you're not going to have enough bolt velocity if you have the rapid fire. But right here, super consistent, nice 8 attachment build. Again, I mean, also for the magazine, you can literally just add the extended mag too. I just don't like that we're losing so much ADS speed, and so it's a little bit annoying to use. So that's why I prefer, you know, the extended mag 1. For the last gun on this list, it's going to be the LC10, which in multiplayer is still one of the best guns in the game. Warzone, not the best, but also still super good to where you should take this class, and I just don't know why more people don't use it. Like, this gun is actually pretty underrated now. The damage range is already pretty good, same with the bow velocity, but we are going to be adding the rapid fire, so you want to use the reinforced barrel to be able to bring up the bow velocity and that damage range, counteracting the cons that the rapid fire gives us. This also is going to lower a lot of our recoil control, but that's why for the underbarrel, you just go ahead and add the vertical. If you are warmed up, I promise you can get away with the range of foregrip, but most of you guys out of the box are going to like that vertical foregrip. So now we got the range, we got the fast TTK with a lot of recoil control, but you are going to be blowing through the ammo, so we are going to be adding the extended mag 1 on there, and then increase the mobility, use the ergonomic grip. So right here is a very good 5 attachment build. If you want to use 8 attachments though, which is the way I recommend the LC10, and then add the compensator, or if you want to be off the radar, use the suppressor. Just, you know, it's just a little bit of a trade-off of recoil control to be off the radar, so that's a little bit better if you're going for those nukes. You guys can see that the iron sights feel a little bit weird. Like, I like the one without the reinforced barrel, but it's still you just have to use the reinforced if you got rapid fire. Then for the stock, I recommend the balance stock or the infiltrator pad. For me, I'm going to use the balance. And then we got the Strelak laser. So right here is going to be a very fast TTK weapon with no recoil whatsoever, and I'm just surprised I don't see more people use it. Like, super easy of a gun to use. Please use it. If you don't like rapid fire, which a lot of people don't use in Warzone, then I would just use the overpressured rounds, then use the suppressor, or just take that off of the fire mod and just use the 5 attachment build with like maybe a suppressor on there, or just increase the mobility. But right there, good screenshot. Apologies for not putting screenshots of the other classes. Usually I always do that. But that's going to wrap it up for the top 5 meta weapons that you should be using in the Season 5 Reloaded update in both of Warzone and multiplayer. If you did enjoy it, leave a like and subscribe for Black Ops 7. Deuces.